a second. All right, how are we doing, people? Bear with me a second, guys. I'll read the chat in a sec. Bear with me. I'm gonna try and what we're gonna title the live. Um, um, right. So it's saying about 23andMe. The rest of them is a psyop, government collecting DNA. Yeah, I mean, I've heard about that before, actually. Yeah, that they're trying to just collect people's data and sell it on or something. Yeah, I wouldn't really want to be putting my stuff in there, to be honest. But so you don't believe that they can tell if you like coriander or something or whatever based on, I don't know, maybe there is some truth to that or something. But I wouldn't want my data harvested like that, and DNA. I mean, DNA harvesting. But yeah, let's just sort this out real quick. Yeah, are we all right today, people? Yeah. Maybe I'll put some poll in the chat to try and interact with the viewers and stuff. I could put in like, hello Sarah, welcome back. I'm just gonna I'm gonna put what happens after death, and I'll put nothing. We go to heaven or hell, and I'll put some what reincarnation, and then I'll put something else under that as well. So that's going to be the poll for this live. So right, yeah. Hope you're all doing well. Let's see what people say. Anyway, what's that? That's so loaded. Let's see where this goes. What you mean? And about like the question or something of what's that? Yeah, it was too little, too late when I'd already submitted my DNA. Yeah. Talking about the DNA harvesting thing or something. And yeah. Anyway, I don't know what you mean. Is it loaded or something? Well, I did put something else under that, as in trying to like sort of. So what do we mean with something else? Maybe if you say the bottom option, then you have to kind of explain what your theory is on that. What happens if, like, for example, some people believe that they become like a ghost or something like that, you know? But I'm like thinking, if ghosts are actually real, then wouldn't we have more evidence, I guess, than what we do? Like, a lot of people have their own subjective experiences of that, but it's like, you would think that we probably have more than what we do, as in like it seems to be that some people have like this like superstitious kind of sort of what is it they call it, inclination, like that's what they're inclined to be, so they're more likely to have these biases, or if they experience something that could be perceived in that way, that they're just going to assume that that's what it is, and they might not think about other possibilities as why they experienced that thing. Or sometimes people can even hallucinate and make up things in their own mind. I really don't know how to answer that question. How do you think? I mean, all I'm gonna say is I don't know. I guess like I should have like put another question in as I don't know to that, because a lot of people would be like, I don't know, that they don't know the answer to the question, and that it's you know some people will say it's unknowable, but it's just I had these thoughts about about this kind of infinite time, and then just kind of this small blip of time where we come into existence, and then that's it. So, but then it's like you go deeper and be like, subjectively, time doesn't exist beyond you or something like that. It's kind of like the whole solipsism theory, and like, well, if like what was before me doesn't exist because, you know, as far as I'm concerned, there was nothing there. Because what if like time is all subjective as well, is what I'm saying, and what if it's each version of person's version of time is from their own individual timeline or something. So therefore, they might not. I don't know. This is the thoughts I have in my mind sometimes, and yeah, how can we prove ghosts? It could be some sort of wild card energy that just reads and projects the thoughts of the dead from our own mind. Hmm, maybe that is a interesting one. Language really does not do these concepts justice. Yeah, sometimes there's certain things that it's hard to explain with the language that we have, because some things are quite sort of what's the word? Not I'm trying to think of the word, like quite abstract, I guess. Quite abstract concepts that language hasn't maybe can't fully explain. So yeah, is everybody okay then? Yeah, we don't seem to be getting a whole lot of sort of interaction today. I don't know, but it's all right. Thank you for the heart me, Aravic. So my channel seems to have been growing lately and getting more people, but I guess it's just a bit of a slow day. I'd like to think we all just drop into a larger pool of consciousness with everyone else that has been. That's the idea of that we all just become part of like a greater being of God or something. But again, how would we actually prove that? So going back to I don't forget, could be some sort of wild card energy that just reads and projects the thoughts of the dead from our own mind. So what you're saying that like I don't know. So you're saying that it's not coming from the dead, that it's hmm, I don't know. It's just will we ever know? Will we ever know the truth to all this stuff? Can we ever know the truth is the question. Some things seem to be unknowable, but we can just keep scratching our heads for forever, pretty much, and never get to a sort of concrete answer. But maybe that's part of what makes life interesting, that some things are just unknowable. Maybe. Thank you for the likes, Lily. Some people believe that in some cases that, some religions, I mean, like that what we believe happens after death is what happens to us. I mean, I don't know how that would actually work, but could it be that? Thank you for following, Michael. Hello, Cinti. I'll just call you Cinti. I don't know how you pronounce that, but anyway, it's like a new baby, fresh spirit influenced by the things around it. Similar, I suppose. Yeah, like we're all influenced by our environment. So this goes on to the whole thing of free will, and does free will even exist? Because of, some would say, well, we're so influenced by our environment and also our brain chemistry, you could say. So if you're saying that people talk about things like, you know, like chemicals in the brain and stuff like that, and causing you to have a certain reaction to a certain thing, that do we really truly have free will then? You know? Because if we are so influenced by, we can be influenced by our environment, we can be influenced by fear and things like that, fear can make you do certain things. Or really, anyway, I'm not quite happy with that description, or what description, and about what you explained that to be. I don't know. Yeah, some things that can be hard to describe, and the more abstract concepts that are not very, established, I guess you could say. Um, I think we have free choice. Free will is questionable, but you're onto something. Yeah, that's the thing where, because that kind of would imply that, because that kind of go against like the religious argument on free will, and God gave us free will, but then how can free will even exist in this universe where everything around us is influencing us? And you could say, well, you can not let that influence you, but you could argue that that in of itself is not your will to, because your environment can affect how you know what I mean? It's it's a whole rabbit hole, I guess, but it's kind of a thought that, well, if there is no free will, then we can't really make anything change in the world, I guess, unless the world wants to, kind of thing. It's like, I don't know, it's one of those things where we can't, they suggest that we don't really have much power in the sense of, this autonomy thing could all just be some illusion that it makes us feel good, but it's like, it makes us feel good to be free, but then that so-called freedom is something that, we end up making a choice based on like how something makes us feel. And I mean, you could say that that is free will. But what I'm saying is that this idea of predestination or predetermination or whatever you call it, that if things are predetermined, then there is no free will, you could argue. Hello, Nosta. I mean, I would say it's genetic. Suri Wong says purifying the subconscious essential. What do you mean? And about like reprogramming your subconscious brain. I mean, anyway, I hope everyone's doing well today. Yeah, welcome in here, people. Book of the Dead Bible, but old teaching, this one thing. Okay. Yeah. So what do you believe? Like, do you believe in the kind of Abrahamic God then, or like there's some people have a different kind of interpretation of God. Like some people say that God is not personal, that God doesn't intervene, or God doesn't answer prayers. God is, some people believe that God is just an energy, a universal, life force energy, whatever they call it. It's a, hello, John Tessico, how are you today? Thank you for the heart me. You are light, okay. However, because of quantum reality, there is always a non 0% chance that literally anything could happen. Yeah, that's the thing where there was actually a theory on consciousness, and basically, in that case, that basically, if we say that the universe is infinite, therefore the argument is that there's an exact copy of us somewhere else in the universe at any given time, and therefore when we die, the question is, does then basically that become us? So it could almost be like resurrection in a sense, somewhere else in the universe. So that would be like one of the fourth options, I guess, in terms of what happens after death is almost like a resurrection of sorts, I guess, of like this consciousness in this body dies, and then there's an exact copy of us somewhere else in the universe with the exact same uh, whatever genetic makeup, whatever. Um, I don't know. Is that possible? It's what do you mean to about what's the checkpoint? In about some people believe that we're like it's like a Groundhog Day. That could be quite a scary thought that we'd have to relive all of the bad stuff that ever happened, all of the horrible things that we had to go through. Yeah. So some people believe that when we die, we have to relive it constantly. That sounds like hell. The thought of that, like in a constant loop. Um, yeah, it's mad when you start thinking deep on these things, isn't it? You know, it's this existentialism they call it, isn't it? I think that's the word for it, isn't it? Someone was talking the other day about I think existentialism iceberg. I think they were talking about, and at the bottom of it talks about like solipsism and things like that. And yeah, it's like, is anything outside of me even real? You know, when you start getting deeper into the more philosophical stuff, really, and yeah, you start thinking, is time even real? Is it, you know, yeah, that we see time passing, but then it's like, but is time something that is, because the thing is, time is something that we've made up to like measure things, and but let's say, for example, we die, and then we for all we know, we could go to a past time or something. I don't know. We could then, what if, say, we end up going into somebody else's body that's from a different time, you know? So therefore, time in this kind of linear sense would be kind of a fallacy or something. I don't know. I heard that humans advanced a lot, lost how we started, and created a simulation to observe how we started, and we're in that simulation. Yeah, that's a theory, isn't it? Yeah. Given I think I heard that from ancient aliens, so take it with a grain of salt. Oh yeah, ancient aliens. I've heard all these different theories about aliens built the pyramids or something, and I don't know. I think there's more rational explanations as to how they built the pyramids, but yeah, that could be something to look into another day. I don't know. Like it could be a topic that we can really delve into, um, but yeah, some say that they were built by an ancient technology as well. That was another theory, but again, I don't know if we really need to kind of go there with that. I do think though that there is probably some lost technology that did come from like ancient times that maybe we just maybe some of it was more advanced than we think, really, because there was something that was found called the anti-Cathera mechanism. It's not like that advanced to like today's standards, but it's like, but apparently it was able to like kind of do well at kind of like predicting like like constellations or something like that. If I remember, it was pretty darn advanced for the time. I can say it's 2,000 years old. Oh hell yeah! I reckon if reincarnation is a thing, why would it be restricted by time and space? We could die now and incarnate in 1979. We could also incarnate from aliens. Yeah, exactly. There's all sorts of possibilities that could come if it is real. Then this time could then, it could be going like, yeah, like it's in a time machine basically, and transporting into a different time because yeah. Hello Avantika, how you doing today? Hope you're well. It's just we don't really know anything about much about this reality. We just take everything a lot of time on face value. We just kind of assume things. We just be like, oh yeah, my version of red is the same version of yours. We just assume that, even though no one's actually told us that is the reality, but we just assume that to be the case, just because, yeah, we assume that reality is completely objective and that it's not subjective at all. But then there is things like, for example, when you see the sun's reflection at your feet, but someone 10 foot to the left and 10 foot to the right of you will see the sun's reflection at their feet. So it has to do with your individual perspective and of how you see things. So yeah, so like because in terms of like the angles of light and how, you know, you see that reflection at your feet, and but from your perspective, that light is kind of only in your is like a sort of in that spot. So it's like you're at the center of your own reality. Is what I'm saying, that we're in this like bubble, and that they are in their own unique little bubble of reality. It's like it's like you're in your own universe, basically. Is how some people see it. For all I know, I'm the only one who exists. That's what I was saying. That how can we prove anything else? Like, I'm seeing your comments come through. It could all just be. I had a theory on this, that what if I created this world and basically like to kind of and put fake people in it just to like entertain myself. Or another theory is that everybody who exists in this reality is actually myself experiencing another life. So this could be where that whole thing of, like say the 1979 thing comes in, where you go back in time or something to another version of reality, as like what was supposed to another yeah, because if I'm the only one that really exists, then everybody that I see right now could be me in a different life, you know? It could just be like projections of myself. That's not incorrect. I was like, what you're saying. I read in Gorad Purana, they say soul goes to four places: hell, heaven, rebirth, and Pitorlok. What's Pitorlok? Can you explain about that? Is that like purgatory or something? Because you've got, say, like, in say, like, well, some say we're in purgatory or something or whatever. Yeah, how are we doing today, everybody? I hope you're all well. I don't know what's going on with the algorithm today, but yeah. If reincarnation is outside of time and space, why not? I've concluded the same. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, just stuff that just blows your mind just thinking. It's like I don't even need to take like, like drugs or anything, because I can have all these thoughts without needing to go there, you know? Now, some might say that if I did that, then it would be even more crazy. Who knows? But I don't even need to do any of that to have some wacky thoughts in my mind. Um, But yeah, I mean, it's just interesting to kind of ponder certain things sometimes, and yeah, like I've even thought about kind of the whole idea of motion, basically, because there was actually this theory on, are we moving, or is the ground moving beneath us, subjectively speaking? Like, it could be like we're on some conveyor belt or something like that. Like um, so when we're always on top of the world and from our perspective. So is the Earth? Are we actually moving around the Earth? Because yeah, we have these electrical signals in the brain. But again, if this is a simulation, anything could be possible, right? What if this is like a kind of like a simulated kind of like a conveyor belt sort of where we feel like we're moving, but like maybe the Earth is actually moving beneath us, and that the sense of motion is just something that is in the brain, because I guess we would experience motion whether we are. I don't know. It's a really kind of like crazy thought to think, but in a simulation, you could argue that, well, are we actually moving at all, or is the Earth moving, kind of thing? Because it's just electrical signals in the brain. At the end of the day, it's just that's just telling us that we are in motion. You know. But anyway, let's have a look, see what people are saying. What we're saying, Patolog is this place where the soul who have done something very good, they help gods to run this system. So why is that somehow some kind of, you know, so they have to go and basically be servants to God. That's their kind of prize for being good on Earth. Oh, well done. You get to go and help people now. I don't know. Apparently, the Earth's polarities are overdue to switch. It won't be immediate, though, really. That is, what do you think would happen then? Would that cause a lot of turbulence and stuff? Um, anyway, I hope you're all doing well. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. I don't know what's going on with this algorithm today, but yeah, maybe it's just because it's a Monday or something, and it's just kind of slow. But I don't know. I expected maybe a bit more going on today, but I don't know. I guess maybe all the trolls, it's usually the trolls that, at least there's not many of those today, I suppose. Oftentimes we get a lot of trolls just kind of dicking about and stuff, and yeah, words don't do justice. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, the English language can be quite a limited way to explain certain things. So yeah, I was looking at this thing last night. I'll tell you something. Without man, God is nothing. It says Jedi Bob. Don't people say the other way around, that without God, man is nothing or something? I want to show you something. This is something that you can do. Because I was looking at something last night on bets that you can always win or something. So I'll show you something. But this is something I learned a while ago, actually. It's kind of like a card trick. But what you need to do is you need to take 5. So actually, you want to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're going to take 5 cards face up, 5 cards face down. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to shuffle them up. So you've got random, they're in random positions in this kind of thing, right? And hello, everybody. Yeah. Humanity came first before God. How does that work then? I mean, maybe you can explain then what is God then? You're talking about that you don't believe in God or something, and that God is just a construct or something, or anyway. So there's random, you can see, random face up, face down. You just shuffle them. So you could get somebody to shuffle them, for example, and then what I would do is I would put the cards behind my back, and what I would do without knowing how many cards, what cards are face up, face down. I'm going to make it so that I have two piles with exactly the same number of face up and face down cards in them, right? Humans created God, says Tiger. Okay, so what you're saying is that God doesn't exist, you're saying? Yeah, so watch this, guys. So all I have to do is this. And as you can see right now, we now have... Ah, crap. Yeah, where we go. Just was sticking a bit. One face up, one face down card. And then this one, we also have one face down card. So to do this trick is actually very simple, right? Comfort blanket for weak-minded people. I suppose there is that. Anyway. Yeah, I hope you're all doing well, people. So what you're going to do for this one is, so we're paying attention, guys. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what you do is you turn 5 cards over, and we're going to just kind of mix them together. And so I do what, was showing. So you just mixing these cards together, and so you can have them do it, just shuffling them together. So what you're going to do when your hands are behind your back, all you have to do is just count off 5 cards and flip them over. And this works every single time. You just happen to kind of have the same number of face up and face down cards. Yeah, they're going to be in different positions, but that's the trick, is that hello Lapinos or whatever. So three face down cards. So you could try this on people, guys. But what you could do it as a bet or something, where you could say, I bet you that I can do that. Yeah. What's this? So I don't know, but the thing is, I was talk about with consciousness is that I'm not saying I'm a religious person. I'm not a religious person at all. But the thing is that I don't think science knows everything about what happens, say, like when you die and stuff like that, and we don't necessarily need to invoke a god to... This is what I've kind of was thinking a while ago, that maybe there is something after death, but that doesn't necessarily mean that God created everything and that we're going to go to heaven or hell or whatever. Maybe it's just that our consciousness just transfers to something else. We don't know. But I think it's just people are afraid of the unknown, I guess. We don't know what's going to happen. So I guess religion, you could argue, gives it a more certain kind of feeling to it. But the thing is, they're never certain because they say they believe in it. So they don't actually know for certain. But I don't know. It's one of those things, isn't it? That, yeah, people have their own subjective experiences of God or whatever. But it's like, if it was so self-evident, I would argue that, the thing is that everyone would believe it if it was just so kind of obvious, wouldn't it? It would just, yeah. But yeah, it's like people just kind of say, oh, you just have to believe in it. You just have to trust in it. It's just faith, But I don't know. I don't accept. It's like, if I can't validate it, why would I believe in it? If I can't prove it through science or whatever. Hello, Magnum Opus. Bro just wanted to chat about the fabric of reality. Yeah. On a Monday afternoon, just kind of casually chatting about existentialism and all sorts of stuff, really. But yeah, I like to kind of get into these sort of things though, because you know there's certain things that can make you scratch your head. You think to yourself, "What the hell is going on with this reality? What you know? Why is it the way that it is?" You know? Yeah, yeah, cool. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, what's your name anyway? Have you been here before? Anyway, let's see how the poll's doing. See who voted on the poll. Let's have a look. So let's see what we're saying on that. So far, reincarnation seems to be the most popular option, with 25% saying nothing, 17% saying we go to heaven or hell, and then 25% are saying something else. So it's quite yeah, a spread of responses with that, really. So seems to be no real consensus on what people think is going to happen. What do you mean existential hype? What are you saying? Um, so yeah, but like with this Abrahamic God, it's like you know I would believe in it if say like something really happened that where it felt like God was talking to me or something like that. I don't know, but I guess I don't know how would God prove his existence? What do you think would like to all you atheists in the chat right now? What do you think that would happen? What would have to happen for you to believe in God? Hypothetically, thank you for the follow, Diamond. My personal opinion is once you're dead, you are dead, just like before you was born. The thing is, we don't know what happened before we were born, actually, because would we remember it? This is the thing. It's but then a lot of scientists would think that, oh yeah, this universe existed for pretty much like an infinite amount of time, and then we just had a blip of existence, and then that's it for eternity. And all right, control. How you doing? I don't know. I just something doesn't sit right with me with that idea. It just I don't know. It feels like a kind of I don't know what it is, Billy, but yeah, Diamond. I'm just like I question things. I'm like, why is it that I'm even here, sort of thing. And yeah, people can go on about neuroscience and all this kind of stuff, but the existence kind of feels like a spiritual one, you could say, in terms of the subjective experience of life. That we're not just some bundle of matter, that there's something more to us than that. Um, I don't know. Hello, Brian. Good to see you again. What are you saying, Advantika? 58 kilograms. There was only allowed 48 kilograms, so I was very worried. I asked God to help me, and then they shifted my ticket to business class without extra charges. Oh, really? Some people believe in like manifestation like that, where things can just like go your way conveniently. And hello, you are Emil. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. How are you doing today? Hope you're well. Welcome into my live. Um, but yeah, thank you for the likes, Weeka. There's a lot of like subjective experiences people have, like where, for example, they might have needed to go on a bus or something, and they didn't have any money, so they just happened to find a pound or something on the floor, and then they were able to get on it or something. Deep question pondered by millions. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of questions that aren't fully answered, and or at least not in a what some would consider a satisfactory way. That are still some holes that haven't been filled by, yeah, because there's a lot that's maybe beyond human comprehension. Maybe there's just certain things that the human brain just doesn't have the power to be able to conceive of. But it's like there's some people that think that we can just transfer our consciousness into the cloud or something, onto a computer, a lot indigo. But how would that actually work? People seem to think that we can just transfer our consciousness. Would that actually work? I mean, it doesn't really make sense. manifestation is utterly false. I think it's one of those things that I would say, like, going back to the whole black and white thing, it's like I think that there is some element of truth to it, but there are certain instances where I'm like, how does an African person like who's in starving conditions, get themselves out of that just by thinking positive thoughts, you know? And I think that, that there is some truth to like, where it's like, if you think positively and it's going to help you get to the, goal that you want by making you more motivated. But it's ultimately the actions that you take that help you get there. But the thing is, nothing's guaranteed in this life because, for example, you're trying to become the fastest runner, for example, on a 100-meter sprint, for example. Like there are other people trying to do that as well. So, there's it's not guaranteed. Even if you tried multiple times, like some people might just be better than you. Genetics are going to play a part. So there are things that are beyond your control that can get in the way of you getting what you want sometimes. Now, yeah, you can get pretty close to what you want, but in some cases, you're just not going to quite get there, you know? And it's just there's a lot of wishful thinking with like, oh, just believe it can happen. Is yeah, it can help, but like we have to be real though. We live in this reality where it's subject to circumstances and things that are beyond our control. So anyway, but the thing is, how do we know that we never were around before we were born? Like, why did I just randomly pop into existence? So I don't know. There's a lot of things that's just seem very strange to me when I think about like that I am and all this kind of stuff. And am I like a fragment of God or something? It's like, um, well, yeah, that is guaranteed. At least die in this reality anyway. But yeah, whatever happens, we should just be living our life the best that we can. And maybe that's why we're not supposed to find out if we're going to continue, because if we always just thought, oh, well, I live forever, so it doesn't matter if I fuck around in this life, then at all the time you're just going to fuck around or something is one theory that some suggest that. Because what if we all knew that we come back to life? I think many people would just keep taking like really stupid risks and things and stuff like that because, you know what I mean? Because they don't really see life as precious. Maybe if it goes on forever and we have something like that. Okay, Big Terry, good for you. A human can waste much of a very short lifetime trying to answer questions that have no answer. I've learned not to. And sometimes I just enjoy kind of, you know, having like a thought exercise on things and just pondering certain things. So to me, it's not necessarily a waste of time. It's just it can be seen as a pastime, just like people play video games. Some people might say that's a waste of time, but if you enjoy doing it, then it's not a waste of time. Then I don't know. 179 billion people haven't died and or somewhere. Is that how many people have lived throughout the dawn of history or something? What do you mean? What's 179 billion people? Diamond says completely agree. Yeah. So it's all down to like, if you enjoy talking about certain things, then it's not a waste of time then. Yeah. That's what we call random chance. I've had a few experiences like that. But the only difference is that I didn't pray to anyone. Yeah, yeah. Some things can just happen. Think you can just get lucky in certain situations. It's not always because of it's not necessarily because you prayed to anyone. And yeah, sometimes I don't know. It's just but there are certain times where people have certain synchronicities that seem like to be happening above, say, a chance rate. where they can't explain it from that. So I don't know. There's, maybe it was just a coincidence, but it's subjective and hard to really kind of. Anyway, hello, Jam. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, being on here every day. Okay, cool. Welcome back. Yeah, just trying to stay consistent with it all because they say consistency is key. So I'm trying to put that to the test and really just keep grinding and keep coming on and stuff and see where it goes. But like we're saying, there's no guarantees to anything. That's what we have to accept as well, that some things are going to be a bit risky. You never know where it's going to, go. But yeah, famous basketball player. I don't know who you're talking about. Um, yeah, we all right today, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. Yeah, we don't seem to be getting as many, but maybe it'll be busier later on in the evening or something, and I don't know. Like manifesting is only true to a certain extent. Ultimately, you have to also put the work in the work. Yeah, true. Um, yeah. So saw Susie put the comment on my live. So yeah, yeah, you have to put in work. That's the thing, is that a lot of Kobe. Oh yeah, all right. That's the thing that a lot of people don't end up doing, because that's the part that is inconvenient, where they want to just believe that you can just get everything that you want in life without really having to lift a finger. That is just a delusion. That is just make believe bullshit. So yeah, it's I've never had anything happen to me just by just dreaming it to happen. And if you're not willing to put the work in, do you really want it that badly? I would say the biggest bullshit. Yeah. It's like some people are just selling a lot of books, courses, things like that. Hello, Ice History. How you doing? Hope you well. Like, for example, there was a book called The Secret. I mean, that's supposedly about manifestation. Maybe it can help certain people, but because apparently, what was it called? Conor McGregor apparently got some benefit from that to help him succeed or whatever. But the thing is that sometimes they will kind of like extrapolate and go on to like things that like universal energies working in your favor or something like that. It's just it starts to get very abstract and stuff that isn't proven. Like we can't prove that there's some kind of what I mean. Oh, the universe is conspiring to make the reality for you that you believe in, because it doesn't always work like that, does it? But then they'll try and blame it on you, saying that, oh, well, you just didn't manifest hard enough, you know? Like they always try and make it out like it's your fault that it didn't work out for you or something. Um, we all wish there's something, but there isn't. If it comes easy, you you do not appreciate it. Exactly. That's the thing, is that sometimes we have to embrace the struggle, because if it was so easy, then it would be like it's like sometimes natural talent is something that can be a curse in a sense, and sometimes not being so naturally talented can be a blessing in disguise, because you had to work harder for that. Let's say you had certain struggles, maybe you just weren't so naturally gifted, but you put the time and the effort in to get there. Whereas some people, maybe they just were like the best looking, and maybe they were, they just had the genetics to be successful. Like they just, popped up out of nowhere. They never really did anything. They just, you know, and then they don't really appreciate it. And a lot of them end up becoming broke and just becoming junkies and all sorts of crazy nonsense. That's how religion works, right? Okay, what you're saying. Anyway, yeah, I hope everyone's well. Share this out if you can, please. That would be really appreciated. Um, it's interesting how the word religion sounds a bit like rely on. It's like you're relying on faith or something. I don't know. It's what's this? When we exist, death is not present, and when death is present, we no longer exist. Epicurus, after this life, we will be void. It will be exactly like before we were born. But again, how do we know that? How do we know that that before we were born there was nothing? How do we know that we didn't come from God? That, like I said, not God, but like as in like a well, not in the Abrahamic sense, but some people believe in like a that God fragmented himself into billions of pieces. How do we know that we didn't just come from some kind of source God that we were then become limited into this human experience? We all have these subjective human experiences. There's all sorts of theories, but like, because how do we know that nothing happened if we just had a fresh brain and like, because does maybe the consciousness wouldn't like carry that information from another life, so we don't know that nothing necessarily um, existed. We're just assuming that because just because we can't remember anything before this life, therefore, does that mean that nothing happened? If you get me, we are made of stardust and return to stardust. Well, we was talking about the idea of like reincarnation or something, and like I don't know. There's a whole bunch of different theories on. Some people suggest that that the consciousness that just goes on to some other being very similar to us, like pretty much the exact same genetic makeup or whatever. And because what is it that ultimately makes me me? What is it that gives me my unique consciousness over somebody else's? Is the question. Like, why is it that when I was born, let's say you got two people were conceived at the exact same time, and then why didn't I get somebody else's consciousness or something like, as in why did you know what I mean? Like or why I mean why is it that my body has my consciousness and not somebody else, if you get me? Like this is where you start thinking like, whoa, what the fuck is going on here? Like it's why is this all this DNA? Is this something that is a kind of like a code that is uniquely you? Therefore, if that's the case, does that mean that when you die, that if the universe is infinite, infinite possibilities, that therefore we just respawn in another part of the universe with the exact same DNA and stuff? Because then some people might suggest it would be like Groundhog Day or something. And I mean, there's a lot of theories out there and stuff. If we return, what age do we return? What constants? Yeah. So I was saying now, what if the time? Yeah, time is. What if we go back in time or something, and or a future or whatever, you know? Because we assume that time is this kind of. Let's say that time is this constant thing or whatever, and it's the linear thing that's like that. It could be almost be like going through like a like a time machine or something, and then we pop out in another time or whatever. Because you know what I mean? Because there's infinite possibilities. Then, hi Imran, how are you doing today? We could go on forever, just kind of speculating, but I like to do it sometimes because I guess it's better than just kind of dwelling on all the bullshit politics and stuff. Because sometimes we get stuck on those kind of topics, really. Um, there is no evidence science. I mean, but like sometimes there isn't always evidence, and that's just the thing that, well, that's what the, yeah, I mean, that's the thing with like religion. It's like, but then they'll just kind of believe in that, even though it's not scientifically proven or something. You cannot go back in time. Einstein theory of relativity proves that. I mean, like, as in time is this kind of, but like that could just be what we perceive in this reality, and I don't know, because of the subjective view of the universe that, like, you could see it as like, if we think of like multiple universes, that it could be like an exact copy of of a time from 1979, for example. So it might not be the exact thing, but it could be like a, you know, because anything could be possible. So like basically, what I'm saying is that we could be going into a reality that's already happened. So maybe like time is a constantly thing, but it's like, but from our own perspective, it could be as though we're going into like into the past. Like maybe in another life, we could see like, like the Roman Empire still existing or something like that, because maybe that is something that exists also um, in another universe or something. Because if you believe, some people believe in multiverse theory or something. So anyway, yeah, yeah. But it's like, new theories come out all the time. Like they're talking about the universe could be holographic or something, or so like that is just based on our limited understanding of the universe, you could argue. I have to just try and keep an open mind, because it's, at one time they thought such a thing, and then later on something came along and disproved that or something. Like something can seem a certain way, but if some say that we're in a simulation, well then if we're in a simulation, then therefore anything's possible basically. And I don't think there's any way to disprove that we're in a simulation, because again, it's that we're experiencing it from a subjective point of view, and some argue that we don't even know if anybody else even exists. Might appear that way, but what even is reality? There's a question. Is any of it even real? Does it go deep into really kind of, you know, you can't go back. I mean, like, if it is a simulation of sorts, then you can go in all the different directions, I guess. Thank you for the rose, Fen. I mean, you could just kind of like go on and on, like, what's this? Religion is the biggest art humankind ever made, really. Hi, Sherba. Good to see you. How are you today? Is Daisy May going live today then? Well, she's not actually called that. That's the name of her dog, isn't it, or something? Yeah, she's quite a sort of anonymous kind of person, it seems like, with some people don't really want to give out all that sort of stuff online. Yeah, it's just, we can go on forever just kind of questioning the fabric of reality, but at the end of the day, it's like none of it changes anything. Whatever we believe in, the reality is what it is. So yeah, I don't know, what can we talk about next, I guess. Is there anything else people want to? I've been playing this thing. It's just this kind of instrument that called a mouth harp. So called a mouth harp. Oh, some people give it different names, but that's basically what it is anyway. Yeah, is everybody all right today then? Second law of thermodynamics. What's that again? Hello, Slothy. I saw you the other day, didn't I? Sure, I saw you the other day, Slothy. But how do we know that the laws of thermodynamics aren't a part of the simulation? Because this is where you can kind of, I guess it's one of those things where um, it's the whole thing where you can't prove a negative claim or something like that, where like if someone's trying to say something doesn't exist, like time travel, for example, then it's like where you could just like always kind of be like, oh well, what if we're in a simulation? I like that sound. Oh yeah. Oh cool. Hello, Tina. How you doing? Like, what if that's the case, then the laws of physics have just been kind of put into that or something. Right. Yeah, I don't know. I do laugh sometimes, but yeah, most of the time I'm just kind of chill. Anyway, I might have to restart the live, guys. If you faster than the speed of light, it could take millions of light years to reach our nearest galaxy. Oh, really? That's mad, that. Yeah. Yeah. Not much right now. Right, I'm gonna restart, guys. It's just there's not much going on here. Right, I'll be back in a sec.